Morning guys, so welcome back to NZ Marko Kustoms. If you don't know, my name's Glenn, and I'm in the bottom of the South Island of New Zealand. New Zealand. Aotearoa, the land of the long white cloud. That was weird, but anyway. So yeah, this morning I need to find that brake adjuster for the other side. I don't know where it's disappeared to. I'd dearly love to put those blue shelving over on that back wall eventually and get ourselves a system set up so when we're stripping parts off cars or going through stuff and doing pre-paint repairs and assembly and stuff like that, repairing stuff, you know, we can put it in a box or a container or something like that, right on what it is, throw it on the shelf, and then it doesn't get moved again until you're going to be working on it again, painting it, whatever. So yeah, I would like to be able to do that so we're not end up in this same issue where we're struggling to find places to put things. And as you get further through other jobs, then you end up with several things and pieces waiting on parts or things to be made or whatever, or you discovered that you can't do that until you go around and do that and then come back to that and dump all over the place. You end up with parts lost, or just, I wouldn't say lost, but just buried somewhere that they fucking shouldn't be because you've had no place or system to be able to put them away, which is, I think that shelving is perfect for it. You get space underneath, bottom shelf, you know, you can have little containers or drums or little, you know, those plastic type boxes or something like that, and then you can stack stuff on there. You know, it's probably not strong enough for motors, but you know, you could do something like that. You know, have a little spot where if you were working on a couple of motors, you know, you could have a place for a couple of motors, especially if we do turn that into a paint booth. You know, you could have that whole wall, you could have a couple of places to put some motors over there or something like that, and then have all your parts. And then have the space in front of it where the carpet is now, stuff to put painted stuff and have a bit of an alley that you can just walk around and get other bits and pieces, you know, out in the box or container or whatever they're in. Put it on your bench, work on it, clean it all up, paint it, whatever. Okay, and we're not ready to put that on yet, but it's all ready to go. Back on the shelf, wrapped up, ready to go. It's kind of what I want to get to, but it's just very awkward with the situation. So, here's hunting time. Well, when you stop looking so hard and just clean some shit up, it's amazing what you find. Oh, I found it. And stupid enough, it was actually on that little table that's all that crap's been on. It was actually, I wouldn't say, it wasn't even buried, it was just in the shadow and underneath the spray guns and amongst some other few bits and pieces. It just was just hiding. Oh, we got it now. It's the main thing. Dumbass. I'm quite relieved about that. Alrighty. So since I found that bit, and I didn't really have a clean up, but I did over there anyway where I found those pieces. But I've got the majority of the brake stuff on. I've still got a little bit of mucking around to do with some bits and pieces, but I'm just trying to get to be able to get this wheel to slide in and out, I guess, so it's half set. I guess, you know what I mean? Kinda. Get a feel for where it should be. And then I might have a look at the other wheel too and just have a decent look at the brake drum on that. I probably should, what I do is I should actually clean up the surface of that drum so it's not so grabby. And just try and get a bit of a feel for when we get the wooden wheels back, we can slide them on and off, hopefully reasonably easy, and do final adjustment, if you know what I mean. But I'm just trying to get them in the ballpark, I guess. I'm hoping I might be able to leave that stuff on there. I think I should be able to leave it on there, but I do have to make some new adjusters for the top. Basically it's a bolt that goes down through the thing, and then it's got like a little lock nut on it, just to adjust the height of the brake shoe. Works on that flat spring, pushes through here, down through that bracket that sits on top of it, and it pushes down and pushes the brake shoe down, and this here would sort of help hold it up, I guess, if you know what I mean. Sort of holds it down and holds it up at the same time, and then it's got like a little lock nut on top. So I need to remake that. I'll try and show you over here. Neither of them are very good. One's had a bolt through it, and the other one's, it's meant to be kind of like this. Meant to have like a lock nut and a bolt, but it's meant to have like a square top on it. I'm just going to use a bolt and a nut, get it through here like that. How it sort of should be. Yeah, I've got to make that up and just clean the threads up on those pieces, but I'm just trying to get this to fit at the meantime. Not like I can do it when that wheel's back out of the road. I'll show you around the other side. So yeah, and yeah, so I just want to clean that thread out and then make the nut and bolt up for that. Yeah, and then we'll try and slip this sort of stuff on and off. At least get it so it's half set up, if you know what I mean. Right, so the brakes are on there. I've pinned all that. I've copper coated all the bits that need to be copper coated, lubricated. So obviously the nuts, the adjuster nut, all the pins. I haven't done anything that side forward, because just in case I have to muck around with anything in there. I've done everything on this wheel, so apart from a final adjustment and putting the wheel on and getting it right, I shouldn't have to take that off. I don't think. Only thing I might do is I might pull that adjuster out, maybe put a little bit of copper coat in and around on that slide, maybe. Yeah, I might put a little bit of shit in there, but apart from that, no, I shouldn't need it. Should be okay, I think. So I'll do the other side now, and we'll get that buttoned up, and then I might climb underneath the car and pull those two blocks off and put them on the outside of the chassis, which I think is going to be a fucking pain in the ass, but I think I actually remember doing that now. Originally, it slowly floods back sometimes. So yeah, we'll get them around, and at least then I can get that buttoned up. And I'll have to have a bit of a look and see what we can find in the way for a spring to put in that system to hold tension on it, obviously to pull back on the brake pedal. So that's cool. Yeah. I'm guessing that all works properly once I get everything all lubricated and get all the little, get some copper shit in there and whatever. It'll be fine. What the hell's that rolling on? Oh, it's just on the gasket. That'll soon wear in. But yeah. That's the clutch, dickhead. There's no tension there anyway, is there? So, but if I push that down, looks like it's doing. I just have to. I think I've got disconnected on the other side of it. It's definitely pulling it forward. Oh. Yeah, I never need a wheel on there to just feel how it feels and adjust it, but I'll get all this pinned and buttoned up and lubricated, and so I don't have to screw around with it anymore either. Right, that's that side all lubricated, split pins in. So you just, that one, obviously that one, you can see that I put the copper coat on there. Same in here, same in there, and on all the pins, and in this, wound that right off, kept a bit of freaking stuff in there, wound it on. So yeah, so they should hopefully never seize up. You know, and you can always get in there to adjust stuff if it needs adjusted at some point. So we'll get back underneath there now, get the spinners that I need, what I think a half inch or something like that, and a socket, and we'll get those bits off, get them turned around, get them sorted, and then I should be able to lock all that stuff up and button it up, and then lubricate and pin everything else properly, split pin everything properly. I'm pretty sure we're right. I think we're right, so it would be only a matter of just having wheels on there to test, but I'm pretty sure when we push on the pedal, well, actually what I'll do is I'll set you up on a tripod and I'll check both sides and push the pedal, and then I can check it back on the footage and make sure everything is mechanically working, and looks like it's going to close up enough. Obviously when it's all adjusted it should work fine, you know, you're only having to pull it. I'm guessing when you jump on the brakes it's only going to have to pull, you know, maybe an inch and a half, I guess, if that, if it needs that far to move to activate brakes, if you know what I mean. So I can't imagine it pulling too far on the pedal. I don't know, you know what I mean. Just a matter of working it out. But so yeah, we'll just make sure that is moving properly, and I might see if I can get you in position so I can see both sides. We'll see. Right, I think that should be good enough to be able to see it move on the far side as well as move here. So just to see. So I assume that was moving it. We'll find out. So yeah, it looks like it's moving it. Okay, it's obviously pulling one side more than the other at this point, but I guess that's probably just a matter of adjustment and whatever. It'll probably, you know, it'll be a little bit of freaking around, I guess, to get the adjustment right. So when you pull one, it's basically pulling the other at the same time. Obviously a couple of springs on there will help that too, somewhere along the line, to pull that rod and keep tension on everything so it's not slack, I guess. There'll be a little bit of slack there, it'll just be in the shoe before it grabs, and that should be all there is. So yeah, it'll just be fine tuning, I guess. But anyway, we'll carry on and we'll get sorted out underneath. Right, so back here after lunch, just ordered my new phone. Through my plans, so not that I really wanted to do it, but I sort of didn't really have a lot of choice left. I just don't have the cash flow at the moment, but I can afford to pay a little bit extra in phone bill to get a way fucking better phone. And with these other jobs coming up, I should be able to sort, you know, shit like that out a bit quicker anyway. So because I'm going to ring the guy with the Dodge probably tonight, and see maybe if you can get in here before the weekend or after the weekend or something like that. With a bit of a shuffle around in here. So it's really like, hopefully by the end of the week, I'll probably have all the front sheet metal lever being back on here again once we sort of go through a few of these bits and pieces, and by the time I finish sorting brake stuff out, and I get all these blocks around the fucking right way. It's a bit of pain in the ass, but just the way it's set up, it's very awkward. You got to just about pull the whole thing off to turn all that shit around, because you can't shift anything sideways. So I'll carry on doing that, and then we'll get a bit more stuff hooked up. I might even climb back upstairs and see if I can get that spring off that brake rod, just even to see what it's like if I don't use it, and a few other bits and pieces like that, so we can get that sorted. Yeah, so I won't ruffle too much. I'll just get back underneath here, see if I can get this shit swapped back around so it's the right way around, and get it all locked up and permanent, and yeah, we'll go from there. Yep, that'll do. I'll see you later. Righty guys, hopefully you can't hear that radio too much in the background. Fortunately it's just on ads, but so I got the spring out of the car and I just gave it a quick sandblast. So I just put it on there. It's just when I plant there and push on the pedal, it's not really a lot of pressure, if you know what I mean. So we'll see if we can drag it along here a bit further. Yeah. If it's more or not. Almost need a somewhere pulling it back. I don't know. Probably to here maybe. Just try and see if it just, because to get the return, if you know what I mean. Bloody awkward trying to do it from here, isn't it? So that's basically the only return action except for the springs, if you know what I mean. Thing. It's not very easy, is it? Especially, oh yeah, it's going back. Not any further. Don't ask me what this is for, but it's hanging on that other fucking car too, so it's obviously here for some reason, but I don't know whether it's to have an extra little fucking spring on it or what, if you know what I mean. It's sort of a crazy concept, but I suppose it works. That's all it was, you know, it just holds tension and pulling over, just jabs itself on there. You think you would have like a little clamp or something on you, but doesn't. But anyway, that's on there. So yeah, it's just a matter of fucking getting these last few bits things, and pieces buttoned up. I wish you would hurry up find about what it's going to do with this dry stuff, so whether I can put this fucking flange and shit on the back here, then I can hook all the handbrake up. Because if he needs to take the end in the diff head with them, well, you know, he can take it away, but if he doesn't need those pieces, I'll just put them in and just get dry shaft made, if you know what I mean. Just a matter. I actually found another piece for the diff, for the piece that goes into the diff. I actually found another one of the thing that hasn't been cut down, like the one. I found another one upstairs, was floating around up there, so. But yeah, so I haven't got another, well, I haven't found another one for the gearbox end, if you know what I mean, just to, for them to make it up off. But anyway, we'll carry on. Alrighty, so I've got that on there. So I went and had a look at that other car. It's a little bit different, but it's basically the same, if you know what I mean. It screws on there, and down there. I think that the brackets were a little bit different, but these were what was on it, so I just used them. One screws in right down at the bottom. So it's obviously for the wiring to come through from the dash, pokes through this tube and down and around there, which is obviously sort of hides it, I suppose, keeps it tidy. I think this one here is for a, whoa, sorry guys. I think that hole is for oil pressure line, I think. Or maybe the bigger ones might be for speedo cable. I think, I'm not 100% sure. That's one thing we don't have. I guess we have to work on that too. So yeah, got that screwed in down there. I was going to try and use a bolt like that, but I didn't have anything that would screw in there. Like there's timber in behind there, so it's kind of hidden. So I just put one of those screws there. By the time you get a few other bits and pieces there, you're not going to be looking down there at that one tech screw. It's not ideal, but it worked quite well, and I was able to get quite a good clamp on that to get so the wiring would run out here somewhere and be hidden. I'll try and have a little play with this later on and see if I can get that in there. But I was thinking of something. What was I going to do? Oh, I'm going to have a play with this seal for the cow vent. See if I can get that in there. So I've got to trim. I've got to trim part of this edge off. Phone down somewhere. So I've got to trim part of that bottom edge off. Slice that through, and I'm going to have to take a bit of this off as well. I kind of knew I was going to have to do that, but I wasn't sure whether I'd get away with it or not, or just leaving it there. But I'm going to have to take it off because by the time I pull it around this thing, I'm going to try and see if I can maybe, I don't know, glue it on there somehow, so I can just get this with maybe just a little bit of lubrication or something on this back side and push it in. I think that's kind of how I'm going to have to do it. Try and glue it on there somehow. I'm not quite sure, because I obviously don't want anything that's going to really push it off. I don't know if I've got any contact sort of type glue here. I think I've only got that construction adhesive stuff, so I might have to go get or borrow some. Some I don't know, some 3M sort of like contact cement or something like that. So I might have to do that, I think. But what I might do is I might just cut it to the length, maybe trim some of this off before I bugger off home, and tape it on there. Tape it on there quite firm, so it sort of wants that sort of half that shape already, if you know what I mean. Like it wants to sit there. Try and force it. So yeah, just half tempted. I don't know whether to trim that off or not. So it's pushed right in. So I wonder if I tape it on there and then trim it off. I don't know. I might try that. Get a rough length, tape it on there tight, and then trim the excess off that I don't want. Maybe. Might be a way to do it. Anyway, I'll have a play and I'll come back to you. Righty, so I've cut the worst of it off, the upstand off with razor blade. Now I'm going to go around with Rolex, and I'm just going to shave, or just trim it up and smooth it up, the top piece. I'm not going to try and go around here, but just try and get this here to sort of blend in, I guess. We'll leave a little bit of a lip maybe, but we'll see how we get on. Right, I think we'll just leave it like that for the night. I haven't trimmed the bottom piece off yet. I'm using it just to clamp the, hopefully sort of want to hold that shape when we pull it off. And I'll grab some glue in the morning, and then we can, I think we'll do, I don't know, see if I may get a couple more clamps or something. Try and glue it on there. somehow, and then we can maybe trim the bottom part off it gently. But I think we end up with a pretty reasonable sort of gasket. Would have been nice if this edge was a little bit wider this way, but I think it'll do the job. Can't really. There's too much crap in the road. Yeah. The original seal never went far this way either. It was more out that way. It was probably out that way another, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch sort of type thing. But it's not going to matter. It's got a half decent lip there. As long as it seals up, you know, it doesn't piss water in there. You know, as long as it stops the worst of it, I guess. That's all we can do on it. But I don't think that looks too bad now. I could probably give that a bit of a, you know, a bit of a sand up if I really had to. But I think once that's weathered a bit and been rubbing on there, nobody's going to be looking at it anyway. But that doesn't look too bad. Not too bad at all. What that'll do, we'll just leave that on, those clamps on there, or vice grips. Just yeah, hold shape until the morning, and that might be a wee bit easier to glue on there. Just might shoot around and see the old man, and pretty sure he's got a can of that 3M spray adhesive, or might even have a tube of it, and we can just lay it out. Tape off obviously what we don't want glue on both pieces, let it get sticky, and then clamp it together and then trim off the excess once it's sort of dried off, and then put a little bit of dishwash or something, just something slippery around there, and try and wedge it in the hole without popping the gasket off. Right, that'll do, I think. That will do. Alrighty, we'll catch you later on. Cheers. Morning, troops. Spring, is it? Not so sure on that. Typical though. Typical. You get a frickin', have no frickin', well, we haven't had any snow down here, or whatever. Pretty much all winter, and we get to spring, and then we get the old snow flurries come through. The place was pretty much white. You didn't even see the top of the car. That's sort of what's, yeah, it's not much, but it, you know, it's weird, you know, fucking you get all winter. You know, it was cold and shitty and whatever, but we didn't really get anything down really low, because we're not far above sea level here. We're only, I don't know, what are we? What would be 30 miles, I guess, from the ocean, but maybe a bit more, depending on which direction you sort of take. But yeah, so we don't normally get snow way down here, but we do get it. You know, like, it's not a common thing. You know, we might get a couple of small dumps sometimes, but yeah, we haven't had anything until spring. Typical though. Guarantee all the fucking lambs start coming out, and yeah, we had a dump of snow. But anyway, so where were we at this morning? So I put a bit of etch on that last night, which is that pulley for the handbrake. So I want to get a coat of black on that today, just rattle can, and then I'll bolt that in, just so it's ready, because I can't really feed the cable down through until I get the handle. That's a bit of a pain. So I left that there clamped up last night. I've actually got some black urethane in the car to buy from Dad's. I don't know if it's any good or not. The best used by date on it's 2020. That might be alright. I might be doing right down in the tube. It's one of those funny ones. That stuff can be weird shit. But I have some white here. think it's white. I think the shit that I used in the back of that body's white. Pretty sure it was. If the black doesn't work, because I want to just smear a bit on the inside of this, then pull it back round and put a few racks of tape around it and whatever. Try and get it to hold on there, you know, and use the vice grips and everything. Try and get that big glue on there, and then once it's sort of glued, I will trim off the bottom, I think, because I'll try and just keep the glue near the top, and then where that little bumpers that locks it in, and sort of that top section where it sort of glues in. I'll try and keep the urethane to there if I can, if I can get a nice little bead in there, and then sort of squash that in and tape it on there, and then we can sort of trim that bottom piece away, and hopefully we can get it to slip in that hole. Or, you know, I might even better trim it away and then just sand the edge or something like that, and then maybe tape it off and just respray a bit of black around it or something like that if I have to. It might be a bit of fidgeting around, because it's going to be, if I try to do it loose, you know, not glue it on or anything like that, I think it'd be a real bitch to get in there. I think I'd battle. So that's why I'm going to glue it on to this, and at least then I know it's permanent. And where I've got the little, where I have the little seam, if I do use a bit of that black urethane, if it squirts out there and then sort of half glues it together, it's not going to matter, because you're not going to see it, you know what I mean? It'll blend in. So, yeah, I'll try and do that first. It's a shame it's fucking cold, but I'll get there, grab that tube of shit, and see if it's any good. So, it's still in the car. I've got it. I better go get it. Right, so you see me, I've got that all glued up and clamped up and whatever on there. Hopefully that's enough to hold, and then I'll have to leave it for a few hours, and then we'll pull all the tape off and all the clamps off, and we can see if we can trim out a little bit of excess off it. Hopefully it won't squeeze out too far, I don't think. I haven't put a big thick bead in there, but hopefully it's enough to lock that piece on, then we can trim the rest off. So we just got some bits of exhaust pipe and stuff for the to make the exhaust up, and what else? I've got an air filter of sorts that might be used to put on that thing. It's actually fairly free breathing. It's a airflow. So yeah, I'll have to make up some sort of little mount to put it onto the carburetor at some point. Might make a little, I don't know, we'll see. I might better use some of the exhaust tubing and run it up here or something like that, and make a little mount to put it up here somewhere, or whatever, just so it's, I don't know, because yeah, it won't slip on the, it will slip on the carburetor, but it won't slip on the carburetor, because I haven't got a lot of room to play with it, if you know what I mean. But yeah, we'll need to get it to some point in there somehow. We have to make up something to slip it on, and whatever. Probably never originally had one. Some of them did, some of them didn't. I've seen photos of them with like a little thing up on here, which I assume was factory, but I don't know. I've seen them with all baths on them and all sorts of funny things, so it would just be a matter of trying to find something, a bit of rubber hose or something like that we can just slip on there, and then make a little clamp up, or just hang it out here or something. We'll work on that. I was hoping that might have just slipped over it, but it could do. We might better, again, just buzz a little bit out of the thick rubber that's on it, because it's quite thick, the gasket sort of thing on it. So I could maybe put one of those little flappy wheels in there and just buzz a little bit of that out so it slips over. and get it hot, and just have it direct on the carburetor. Could do that. We'll see what happens. See what happens when I get, when I get to that. So yeah, I've got that sorted. I'm trying to think, what am I going to do now? I need to flick a bit of paint on that, so I might do that shortly. Even though it's cold, doesn't matter. It's not a critical piece. As long as the paint sticks, that's all that matters. I might have a look at this and just see how I am going to get in there to hold that on there. See if I can get this frickin' wire off there. So this here, from what I can figure, is down there, and that goes up onto there, something like that. And obviously there's meant to be a little split pin or something goes right the way through. I don't know. I might see if I can maybe get a biggest problem in it. The fucking steering box and everything's right. So probably this here was probably attached to the engine when it went into the hole, and that was guided in, I bet you. So I'll have to see if I can work out some way of, actually, I might make a little wire clip of some description. What could I, even a bit of that welding rod, maybe, just make a little C-type clip that I can just push it in there. Anyway, we'll figure something out for that. I'd like to get that on there, and then I'll spray that piece. I might spray that piece now. So when I'm finished mucking around with that and doing a couple of little jobs, I might even see if I can get this rubber in the bottom of the windscreen. And then by that, a little bit later on the day, that'll be dry, and then I might better poke that underneath and bolt that on. Just get all these last little details done, especially to at some point get some wiring and stuff. So yeah, anyway, carry on. We'll just get some last little bits and pieces done. Hopefully, I don't know whether I'll have maybe later. I don't know what's today, Tuesday. So I'm thinking probably maybe tomorrow or Thursday I might have my new phone here. We'll just see. I don't know when it'll arrive. Depends on where they send it from, I guess. So that'll be good. It's quite good to actually get a free frickin' I don't know if it's a half decent tablet, but you get a frickin' 10-inch tablet that comes with it, so, and a case and all that sort of bullshit. So yeah, can't wait to get this phone. Because I'm not a big Apple fan. I don't mind seeing some, but I'm not really a fan of their stuff either. So I'm trying one of the Oppo Find X5s Pros, which is basically their top end phone. I've never had a full high end phone before. Most of my phones have always been mid range. But yeah, so hopefully that's good, and it's meant to have a frickin' absolutely amazing camera for a lot of low light stuff, bits and pieces. So it'll be interesting to see what the footage looks like. I know this here was pretty good when the lenses weren't so fucking beat up, but it's got a way better camera on it. So only thing I wish the top end phones had frickin' in the SIM card tray they had frickin' the old, you could put an SSD in them, but a lot of the high end stuff don't. But that's alright. It's only 250 gig. But I've never really used all the storage on this. Well, I do, but I offload most of the videos off it anyway onto the computer and delete them. I just leave them on the cloud for a while too, just in case I do happen to need something or miss something, or something doesn't make it onto the computer. So most of it uploads to the cloud, and then I delete some of the older stuff off there after a while. Mainly because I just don't have the storage on there either, but you know what I mean. But yeah, be interesting to see what this phone is like. And then in another few weeks we'll get another one for the missus. Just couldn't afford to organised both at the same time. with a deposit for him, so, you know, hopefully, fuck, she doesn't break it. Well, that was fun. So I finally got that frickin' drain tube, or breather tube, whatever it is, for this, I guess it's a breather for the crankcase pressure that runs out back down where the oil thing is anyway. So yeah, I eventually, because I was going to make a little C-clip, but I just couldn't find anything that was sort of springy enough. I thought maybe a, what do you want to call it, like a split pin, whatever one of you guys want to call them, cotter pins, whatever. I thought maybe just using one of those and bending a little clip out of it. But I thought in the end of it, I just, I thought, shit, I'll just use a bit of wire tie, but holy shit, it took me fucking ever to get it to poke through both holes so I could get it out through the other side. So I'll show you what I've done. So yeah, this is it here. So basically I had to poke it through from this side, get it nice and straight, got it through one hole. And man, do you think I could get it through the other? And freaking, I don't know, I probably had about 10 attempts and I eventually got it through. Probably took me, I don't know, freaking 20 minutes, half an hour. I was almost at the point where I was going to actually undo the bolts off here so I could actually lift this top piece off. But I didn't really want to disturb the gaskets and shit. But it's on there now, so it's cool. I eventually got it through, poked it through here, and I just grabbed it with a pair of those long nose pliers that William from Solar Garage sent me. Come in handy occasionally. So yeah, I managed to get it to pull through and then just poke it through and then just grabbed it and pulled it up and then wire tied it. I think that'll be fine. I don't know, it probably would have had originally some sort of clip or something, or it's probably put on the motor before it's dropped in the hole. But you know, a lot of these things, when you're working with something unfamiliar and you didn't do a lot of the work, like you didn't pull it apart, well, you don't know where everything goes, and it's not until later on you work stuff out and you see pictures and you go, oh, okay, that's where that goes, and oh, that's what that's for. And so yeah, it can be a bit of a mystery puzzle sometimes, but we're getting there. We're getting close now. So we got that on. We got that sprayed. What's that like for dryness? It's not too bad. Just leave it for another hour or two. It's pretty cool, but we'll leave it up for another hour or two and then we'll poke that on. I don't know how long that frickin' urethane is going to take to dry. Probably a while. I might actually Google this stuff and just have a wee read just to see how long it's meant to take, because it doesn't actually say on here. I was trying to read it and see if it had like a time frame. You know, I said, like should be dry within 2 hours at whatever temperature, but it doesn't really say much. It's just got everything, all these different languages on it. It doesn't really tell you if you want to. Basically tells you if you want to know anything, frickin' look up the leaflet. Well, it's fucking handy if you'd have it, but yeah, I don't have it, so we'll Google. Just so I can get a bit more of an idea, because I would like to slip that in there today if I can, but otherwise I'll just leave it there till tomorrow. And then we'll trim that other shirt off, so. But hopefully I got that sort of tight enough around there that we don't have any issues, and it glues itself on there. I'm hoping. Looks like everything's still in the right place. What's the fucking bit that matters. So I think once it's in there, it'll be right. Yeah, so hopefully that glues on there, and yeah, because if I didn't use this, I was going to use a bit of the seam sealer that we've got here, but it's white. I didn't really want to use it, so I borrowed that off Dad. He said it's a fucking good wee tip, that. But this tube, he's had around since 2020, so we were talking 2 years old, and it was probably 3, it's probably, who knows when it was manufactured. Does it say? Doesn't really say, but it's like use by date is 2020, so It's probably maybe 3-4 years old, I guess. But when Dad used it, he put a bit of plastic in there when he screwed the thing in, and it fucking kept it soft. So, but fucking, because that shit's bad for going off, if you know what I mean. Like once you break that seal and start using it, you know, even if you do put a screw or something in there, you know, it wants to go off. But that saved it, so I put the screw in the end because I had a shit of a job trying to get some of the old shit out of there so I could get a nice little fine bead. So I put a screw in the end of it to try and keep this stuff soft. And then put a bit of plastic back on there. So that fucking worked. Good wee tip. If you're just using a little bit out of something, because that hasn't had bugger all use, if you know what I mean. It's only been used a couple of times for a couple of small little jobs, so fucking works. Because it's probably been at least sitting there in Dad's shed for probably 2 or 3 years. So, yeah. Anyway, we will carry on with something else now, and yeah, well, this other little bracket too I've got to clean up and paint. I was wondering what the hell it was for, and I've seen it on that card there, and I actually seen a photo the other day. It goes on here, but yeah, there's one of those little dinky frickin' squeezy frickin' metal oil cans that must have like a bulge in the bottom, or however they work, for lubricating, and it sits in here. That's what it's for. So we'll clean that up and paint it and screw it on there too at some point. So, fudge. I'll sit it over here, and we'll give that a frickin' sandblast later. So I don't tear the skin off my shin on my knee. But anyway, we'll carry on. Right. Anyway, so like, I went to put this on here and I was like, something's just not quite right here. I was like, what's going on? I was like, I don't think I've had this apart, had this back off here, but maybe I did. Because, yeah, it's just, this one's like the suspension. So I was looking at the book, and I was like, maybe just have a wee look, see what's going on here. Just in case we got something wrong. So yeah, I do. So the hook part on that piece is meant to be at the box end, and then the straight part's near the front. So I know it's the opposite way around, but it's still the same thing, if you know what I mean, just reversed, obviously, because it's, you know, not, this is right-hand drive, not left-hand drive. So yeah, we'll fix that. My bad. I didn't think I'd actually had that back apart since I first initially put it on there, but maybe I did. So we'll swap that end round before we try and put it on there. It might steer a bit easier. Right, so I'm going to have to undo those and spin it round. They're like the back of it is way thinner than the front side, if you know what I mean. You're losing probably, you're probably back into about here. And hopefully when we put a grease nip on it, like it's only catching on the bottom edge of it. So when we put a grease nip on, as long as we, or greases or whatever you want to call it, as long as you point it uphill or out this way, you know, it should clear. Like you're not, it's only catching on the nuts, so I think it'll be fine when it's rounded away. I've moved this over as far as I can, which is probably half an inch, but I've done everything right up now. And I put some copper coat anti-seize in all the tapers as well, not all the threads. I won't put any split pins or cotter pins in there yet, but just until I've made sure that everything was right. So I'll, just in case I do have to take something off. And if it still hits when we spin this around, we might have to reshape this or something. I don't know why. I don't think it's bent, but this thing was hit in that side, so it's not to say that this isn't bent, but I'm pretty sure it cleared originally. So I may have just, when I put this back together, I may have put that bracket around the wrong way, if you know what I mean, had it inside out. It's just because the back ones fit that way. But it's not to say that I haven't got them on the wrong side either, if you know what I mean. They might meant to be the other way around. So yeah, it's not to say that I'm not meant to be on the other way, because I had them around that way, and then I realised these were catching, and the springs couldn't, move properly. So yeah, I had to turn them around, but it's not to say they're meant to be on the other side. I don't think it matters here, if you know what I mean. But yeah, probably the only one I'll probably have to turn will be this one, but if I'm going to turn that one, I may as well turn that one as well. So it's no biggie. Actually, I don't have to turn these. I can get in there to do the grease nipples there. That's fine. But yeah, so we might as well turn those ones as well. While we're at it, I'll just, at some point, I'll have to remember to jack it up, take the weight off the front axle, and I might just have to move these back behind the axle or something like that, and undo the nuts and push them out and whatever, if you know what I mean. Just have the jack underneath the front axle once I've got the axle stands underneath the chassis. Just flip those around. That's cool. I think it's only just catching it, so but yeah, we moved that over. It probably got half an inch. It's still catching with everything done up, so it's good. You're better off to want it now than trying to drive down the road and you realise, fuck, what's going on here? Anyway, we'll catch you after lunch. Might bolt that thing on for the handbrake. And then I might jack the front end up and do the springs and get that sorted and make sure that piece is going to clear. Right, so I've just gone through and split pinted all the front end, these bolts, because I can't really get them up done any tighter. Basically, I took them up as tight as I could and then just backed it off to where I could get a pin in. So I've done those 6 bolts. I don't think it's going to be much more difference in weight really by the time. There will be a little bit, but like I'm not going to get the bolts up done any tighter. And the only other one I've split pinned at the moment is the one off the box for the fucking drop arm, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, I haven't done anything else yet, but that's just what I've finished doing. So I've got all those pieces around the right way, so we can put some grease nipples, whatever you want to call them, at some point. So there's freaking grease nipples in this thing everywhere. So we've got, well, they're in here, they're in, I think they're in the top. Can't remember. No, they might not be in the top. But they're definitely down on those bits and freaking in all those pins and the bushes and the suspension. Obviously all in here. Same over there, the ends of them. So yeah, there's grease nipples everywhere, like here, and plus we've got all those little greasing pots that are, there's one on the clutch shaft and all that sort of stuff. So that'd be why the little freaking squeezy pot thing's for, so you can come along and, you know, oil all those sorts of things or pump a bit of grease into them. That's probably what a lot of them for. I think even originally the distributor even had one on it. And the original distributor, I think that had one on it as well. So yeah, but you know, there's one in here. So yeah, we'll have to get a whole heap and just take a few out, well, plus the ones that are already out, and just see whether we can get new ones to fit in a lot of them, I guess, and go from there at some point. Like I even put one on the end of the starter. When we had to do that repair, I put one in there so we can squirt a little bit of frickin' shit up the end of that to lubricate the end of the shaft. You know, just a half pump every now and again. Again, I think it's meant to be one of those little oiling cups so the oil soaked down into there. Just a wee shot of grease every now and again would be frickin' more than enough. So yeah, right, where are we at now? Apart from kicking the hammer on the floor. I'm not sure. What else can I do? What else can I do? What else can I do? Just trying to think. I've got a couple of bits of sandblast I can do then. I've got that little oil can holder. We might try and find something at some point, and I've got that to do, which is for the handbrake. It's the you wrap the wire around that, the handbrake wire around that, and clamp it up. That goes on, obviously, on here. I think the pin will go through there, and then the wire doubles back round on itself with this clamp. So I'll probably have to find or make a pin for this at some point. It's got to go on the box somewhere too, I think, from memory. So I might have to paint that too. So yeah, we'll get these couple bits and pieces to clean up. So we'll throw those in there. Might throw that other bracket in there. It's not bad, but I might just give it another wee sizzle up and spray some etch on that if I've got anything left. I'm getting pretty low again. So might throw that in there. That's the mirror holder. Might as well do that while I'm in here. What else can I do? These here I probably could, I'd done these ages ago, but not really knowing what they were for. But I did them anyway, so I might just give them another wee brush over. Might paint on this because this is for the fuel lines and stuff like that. A few of these P clips, at least I can hang all them up and give them a coat of black. There's another one there. I don't know if I need them all, but you know, if they're all painted, doesn't matter. If I don't use them all, throw those in there and then throw that up in there. Throw that over the other side. So we might do that. Some of that stuff will clean up and carry on. I might, yeah. I don't know if I'll run the fuel line, but I might just organise myself to get fuel line run, because like I said, we need to organise fittings. Just work out what we can do, what we can get, what we can do to get all that stuff sorted. Look for all the ins and outs. But yeah. Well, at some point I'll probably try and make that spring fit to see whether that feels comfortable with that board, but I'm not worried about that. We'll do this at the moment. So yeah, I think that'll do. We are getting closer and closer. I still haven't freaking put those bolts in there yet, so I keep forgetting. I had a pretty simple thing to do freaking right at the end. Been trying to get all this other stuff sorted. It's all the freaking little jobs. Don't realise how many little jobs there is. It's always something else, and always something else, and always something else. Well, there's not a lot of wiring to do either, but I bet you by the time you do it all, get the freaking headlights going, tail light going, make sure the dash shit freaking works, you know, making sure that's all wired up properly. There's probably a couple of days in that, just freaking screw around for a little bit of wiring. It was not overly complicated, but you know, it's still going to be done. Anyway, we'll take the stuff. Right, so I got all that stuff sort of cleaned up. I've just run out of freaking itch. I just probably managed to get enough itch on there, maybe, on all these little bits. All those little freaking... I don't think I need all of them, but there's a whole heap there, so I just clean them all up, or re-clean them all up, and just hit them with a bit of itch, so at least that'll be reasonable tomorrow, or actually, I might just get enough on there before I go home. Get with some black maybe. They don't take too long to dry. With the itch, it's pretty light coat, so it probably won't take long. I pretty much just flick them off, you know what I mean? Because I'm out, I need to get some more. But yeah, we'll give them a quick coat of black maybe before we leave, and I guess they might be half ready tomorrow to poke some more stuff on there, I guess, and work out what else we need to do. Get some stuff going. But yeah, that's where we're at the moment. The other thing I was just thinking about too was we got another flange for the exhaust. They had pre-cut like flanges there, but there's no flare in it to hold the pipe on, which is kind of handy. And I don't know what he did with the original one, so I'm just thinking about maybe either running around there with the die grinder and just tapering it out a bit, or maybe even just running around there with the mill. Right, so I found a couple of bolts in there to put in there and clean the, we're trying to tap up through this ridge, they weren't too bad. So we'll just flip this to metric because it's fucking easy for me to work out. So we'll measure the outside. Okay. This is 82. Too bad. And the inside is 65. Yeah, so we're all right for width. It's just, it's too skinny. So we need about 64 mils in between. Thereabouts. Yeah. So we need to try and drill holes further in. Yeah, spacing is too far apart. So, and obviously the holes aren't big enough anyway. They're not 3/8. They're only about 5/16, I think. Yeah. So I need to open these holes out anyway. So I might try and I'll draw these out anyway as close as I can to this edge, and then we might just have to open them up with the die grinder, and then we'll try and put a bit of a bevel or something just around the edge so I can bring the tube up and hammer it over. Or when we want to fit this, we can slip this up so it won't run away, and we'll have to get a shorter bolt. I'm not sure if this is one that was meant to be, it has been in there at some point. It might have been over here. It's pretty eaten away. But yeah, we need a slightly shorter bolt or stud and nut or whatever. And probably should be brass or bronze or whatever. But anyway, we'll make this fit first.
Welcome to Iron Outlaws. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this.